It would help if I turned the mic on, right? What's going on, guys? This is Uche Njoku, and this is the Njoku School channel on YouTube. So, for those of you who don't know, I am a high school principal in New York City, and I have this channel where I have a podcast talking about education and culture. I also have a weekly uh, family talk show that I host with my sister, who's a nurse practitioner, mental health nurse practitioner. She's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And so we kind of do the old productive field thing and really talk about families and how we can support families and children and community to live their best lives through this pandemic and beyond. And then also talk about education technology, which is pretty much technology, but its application to the classroom and teachers. Um, and what else do I talk about? I talk about sneakers. Yeah, sneakers don't won't change the world or anything like that, but I love sneakers, so I talk about sneakers too. And then, of course, financial literacy, which is something that's very, very important to me. So these are the spaces that I live in this channel. And I recently got a request from a subscriber, Kevin Wolf. Kevin, thank you again for your question. And the question he had to do with my mic setups. He noticed that depending on what video I'm doing, I have two different mics, and so I want to talk about that. And then also he had a question about if I was using a cloud lifter or fed head. You know, he asked me about cloud lifters, but I want to say cloud lifter or fed head because I use both. So I'm going to show like my setup with that, and then he asked about the stands that I use on my table. And you might be wondering, how does he see all these things? Because sometimes I actually do this. Where is it? Here we go. So often at the beginning of my shows, I do this, or I've done episodes where I need to show the audience certain things about my setup, especially with teachers. So I show this, and he knows that this is actually raised. This is my Rodecaster Pro. It's actually raised off the table. So it's my laptop raised off the table, and you get more space because I have a lot of cables. I have a lot of cables running around, so it allows for there to just be a little bit more space. And let's answer these questions. So what I want to do here is real quick, I'm going to tell you about the two mics that I use. So I'm going to turn this mic off so you don't hear the noise. I'm going to bring down another mic real quick, so just bear with me. So this mic is usually not in this frame, you know. This is the mic that I primarily use when I'm on this, that I only use when I'm in this front of this camera right here. And this is the Shure SM7B, classic workhorse, phenomenal sound, broadcast quality. But however, I have this other mic here. Not because I have somebody else sitting with me. It's because I have another camera angle that I use. I use this camera angle primarily for the podcast, the family talk show, and 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 a lot of times with the tech review stuff that I do, I'll use this mic, and also sometimes with a sneaker. And because this mic is in proximity to this camera, and when I'm standing up with my overhead camera, it's in proximity. But the thing is, I have another camera on this side here, which is this. And the reason I use this because if you look at my table setup, I have an iPad here. Sometimes I'm doing a screen share off the iPad, and what happens is I don't want to be turning this way and have a camera pointing at me this way. You know, I'd rather be able to like look up, you know, and that's why this camera comes in handy. And this is why I have this camera right here because I can do what I need to do from the iPad and talk to this camera if I have notes here. So and the other thing too, because I do so much from the other camera angle, I'm starting to incorporate this, and I started doing this with my financial literacy, which is financial literacy matters. So I do that on Wednesday nights. And the great thing about this, I can have my notes in front of me. I can talk in this angle, and it's a different feel. So I don't feel like I'm bombarding the audience with always the same background, always the same scene. Even though it's just a slight shift, it's different. And this mic is much closer than this mic because for me to get this mic all the way over here, I got to kind of like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to turn over here. I guess my company, actually, no. See, I can get that mic completely out of the way, and it looks like a completely different setup, you know. So the question that Kevin was asking is like, am I using two Roadcasters? But no, I'm using just one, here. So this mic, the pod mic, this is the pod mic. It's connected all the way around to the back, right into the Rodecaster Pro, and the Shure SM7B right here, connected right there. So you see it right here, channel 1 and channel 2. You know, those are two mics, you know, and it works perfectly fine. So now, the other question that he had was, am I using a cloud lifter? And yes, I am. 1 second. GoPro video. Sorry. My apologies. My GoPro heard something that I said and changed this setting. But voice activated. Sucks sometimes. But so if I use a cloud lifter. So what is a cloud lifter? So I'm not very technical, but I'm gonna tell you. So these mics here are dynamic mics, and they tend to need a little bit more juice, and a lot of audio audio interfaces. So it's the device that you use to kind of process your audio and have the audio coming from your mic to be able to talk to your computer or whatever you're using. So the Rodecaster Pro is an audio interface. It's a very advanced audio interface, but it's an audio interface. So most audio interfaces, when you come with dynamic mics, but they tend to need a little bit more power. When you plug them in, sometimes they don't even do anything. So you need something to kind of give the mic a little bit more juice. The Rodecaster Pro, honestly, as it comes, you can plug in both mics in there and turn on your phantom power. And so that's what it is. You need phantom power. It's just like an additional juice. And it works pretty well. The only problem is that it's not as loud as you want it to be. So you kind of have to crank it up all the way up to get decent audio. So one of the things that I came across was that to use some kind of cloud lifter, to use a cloud lifter, and I'm not exactly sure what it's called, the device by itself, but let me turn this back over here. So I'm not sure what it's called, device by itself, but the device itself gives the mic a little bit more juice, so that you don't have to have it cranked up all the way to get decent audio. Same thing with a pod mic. So I do have a cloud lifter on this one, on the Shure SMB, the Shure SM7B, and I'll show that to you in a second. And but however, for the pod mic, I use a FET head, and I don't know if I can show you right here. And I'm going to show this to you. This extra piece right here, and both devices do the exact same thing. It's just different price points. And the other thing too is also their form factors are very different. So I'll show that to you right now. So what I'm going to do is switch to my iPhone's camera, and hopefully I can find the right mic to talk out of, so I can show you. I could show you how the mics are connected. So let's go ahead and switch over to this right here. And this is actually from my cell phone, plugged into Ecamm Live. So I'm going to flip it over. And here we go. So I'm going to switch mics now. So here we go. So right now, the Shure SMB, the Shure SM7B, which is this mic right here that I'm using, is connected straight into the Rodecaster in channel 1. So the way it's set up right now is the cord goes straight down, and if you can see back here, it plugs into the cloud lifter, which is the blue device right there. Then it's another plug that goes from another XLR cable out of the cloud lifter. It goes straight into into the Shure SM7B, and it's just like turbo boost that you have in a car. Just a little bit more juice, you know, so that you can get a little bit more power and a little bit more gain out of your mic. And and I do the exact same thing over here with the pod mic. The only thing though is this, because this is the box, it has to sit on the table, and I have to plug into it and plug out of it. And this is called a cloud lifter. But over here, let me see if I can stand over here with my pod mic. So this is the same type of device. It's just a different company, and it's called a FET head. And what the fed head is just this piece right here. So I plug this piece into the mic and plug the XLR cable into it, and it does the same thing as that one. So to form factor wise, this right here I can deal with. Even though it pokes out a little bit, it's not in the way, and it doesn't pose to be an issue. The problem with the Shure SM7B is this. See this right here? I couldn't plug that in here. Okay. But the other thing, so the only option I would have would be to have the fed head plugged in the same way I have the cloud lifter plugged in. But then, see, this sits on a table and has little rubber legs and sits firmly on the table. It doesn't go anywhere. But if I had to do that with this is just a solid piece of metal. So if I put it on a table, guess what's going to happen? It's going to slide back and forth, probably fall into the ground, and at some point something's going to happen. It's going to pop off or it's going to break. So I didn't like the idea of having just this one piece of metal plastic just rolling around the table with no support, nothing hold, unless I duct tape it to the table leg, which I'm not going to do. So I have the cloud lifter here for my Shure SM7B, works perfectly fine. Then I have over here the fed head that works with the PodMic perfectly fine as well. So that's my setup. 1 second here. To have this light over here tweaking. I'm not sure why it's doing this. Okay. Yeah, one of my lights is kind of blinking weird, so I think I'm gonna have to replace that. But yeah, so that's the setup for the mics. And again, sound quality wise, they are. Let me sit down. Sound quality wise, I'll be honest with you. They're a little bit different, a little bit different, but not so different where I'm just like, oh my god, this is horrible. The Shure SM7B has a much smoother, berry white type feel to it. It's a mic that I feel I can talk into for hours and not feel like I am destroying someone's ears. And because I listen to it. I'm listening to it and it just feels it's so much more smoother. It captures the nuances of my voice. And I feel like it's a lot more forgiving. Okay. The pod mic sounds great as well, but it's a little bit more punchier. If I could say that. It's a little bit more, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit bassier, but it still sounds great. It sounds like the old school radio sound. And I like it. This is my personal opinion. If I want to sit on a mic for our podcast, maybe 2-hour podcast, and be talking the whole time, listen to my own voice, I love this right here. If I'm doing a short video, 5, 10, 15 minutes long, like I'm doing a review or something like that, or talking about a particular subject about a credit card that came out or some kind of financial principle, the pod mic, perfect, because I can record there, and then I'm done. I'm not sitting there for like 30, 40, 50, 60 hour, and I'm not playing the pod mic at all. I think they're both great. If my only option was the pod mic, I'd be 100% happy. 100% happy. It's a phenomenal mic. Let me switch over to it right now. So, like you say, you can tell it's a little bit more aggressive. A lot more aggressive, a lot more radio E. I feel like it's funny because they're both broadcast quality, but this sounds to be a little bit more radio-y, and sometimes I have to kind of push down the control the decibels a bit lower. But again, it's so much more aggressive. But I also like this mic. I like this mic, and it's a mic that I feel like if I'm recording something to put out there for someone to listen to, I like this mic. If I'm talking to you, and I know you're talking to me live, and I'm talking to you and you listen to me live, I want to honor you by coming to you in a sound that's a little bit more less aggressive. So this works. So this 2 mics work well in that fashion. But more so than that, I have 2 separate cameras. I have 2 different camera setups right here, which I usually have my Shure SM7B right in front of the Canon. But if I'm going to be over here, then I'm going to have this mic right here, which is my PodMic, and it works. If you're just watching the shows and watching the content, you don't know the difference. You just know it sounds good. If you're watching everything, you start to notice, like, why is he doing that? And now, trust me, you're gonna hear the difference every time you listen to it. But you're gonna also notice it's not a horrible difference. It's just a different setup, a different situation, a different situational use. And then the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is the stands. So I'm going to go back to, again, how cool is this? The fact that I can actually utilize my phone as a portable camera and be able to, and not have to edit it in. So again, this is let me get a better angle here. I have too much stuff going on. So here is my Rodecaster Pro, and it's actually sitting on a laptop stand. That's what this is right here. And I got this originally from my MacBook Pro when we were still in an apartment, and I started podcasting. And I had a small little coffee table. So to make more space on the table, I used this for the laptop. But now I have a much bigger table for everything. I still need more space. So I have the Rodecaster Pro on there, and I can lift it up. I can change the angle it up much higher. But this is an angle that works for me really well. And the great thing is I don't have to look up and down at it. I can just literally reach over and know where everything is. And it works really well for me there. Then my laptop is over here, and it's also on a stand. And the thing with this is that by moving my laptop back and away from me, of course now I can't reach the keyboard comfortably. So that's why I have the wireless keyboard in front of me here. So what it does, it just gives me more room. If I need to, I can actually take this take the wireless keyboard and move it to the side. So if I'm doing an overhead review or whatever the case is. So it's just creating more space for myself and maximizing the use of the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put links to the things I talked about: the mics, the stands, the cloud lifter, and the Fed head in the description. And if you're interested in purchasing these things or expanding your setup, use those links. I would really appreciate it. It will definitely, hopefully kick back a little commission from Amazon to help out the channel, because all these things here cost. And right now my light is tweaking, which means I might have to replace this light right here. You can't see it, but it's tweaking a little bit. So, but yeah, so this is my setup, and this is how I have the audio set up. And let me go back to my main mic. And here we go. So welcome back. Let me get this mic back and away from me. So I usually don't ever have these mics out at the same time. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny right now. I'm like, why do I have two mics in the shot with me? But yeah, this is my answering Kevin's question. And hopefully those of you who are watching this might be like, whoa, that was great and very insightful and very helpful. And this is how I learned. All the stuff that I'm showing you right now, I literally learned from watching YouTube videos and Tom Buck and all the people out there who have great content. And I literally learned, live streamers pros and like literally Loria, Dave, all these people. I watched them and they're like my mentors in my head. Ekim Life folks, Doc Rock, and I literally built this from watching videos. No one. I never consulted with anyone. No one ever came in here and said, "Hey, this is how you do it." Trial and error. But the great thing about it is, I believe that this space, YouTube content creation, is phenomenal because what I've learned allows me to add my voice into that wilderness of content. People who might not understand, people who are teaching or sharing their process, they might understand me. And there's going to be people who are going to come to me and be like, I don't understand this guy, what he's saying, and then you're going to go find somebody else. But it's always great to have as much thorough and detailed content as possible. And Kevin, thank you for allowing me to do that again. And with that being said, I think I answered all the questions. Let me make sure. Shure SM7B question, PodMic, cloud lifter, added the Fed head and the stands. And I think I did it all within 20 minutes. All right, guys, be well. Peace.